Okay, so I'm just going to give you a walkthrough of the match, kind of going step by step where there was some problems and also where there was some good things as well. So let's start the match. Let's turn this down. Okay, so as we talked about, so right here, I remember you commenting about that he was winning the grip fight here and actually had your hand controlled. At this moment here, your the grip that you have on his lapel is quite low, so you don't have any control on him, and he has quite a lot of leverage on you. So it would have been nice to see you trying to either break grips, so let go of this is basically useless. Break the grip, and then see if you could recompose the match into the center and then start the grip fighting again. And this ultimately cost you on the collar drag sequence he got you with. He's doing a good job controlling you with the grips. Again, you're losing that grip fight. It would be good to strip the grips and try to get back to the center if you could. Although I know it's hard, but the grip wasn't really getting you anywhere, and I know it's already hard to take you down. But with those grips, that's going to make it a lot easier. Right here, he actually does get you with a good technique. You can see you do a good job letting go and trying to post your hands. You could have posted your hands here, but it was going to make it difficult with the grips that he had. You'd probably be behind anyways. Now, right here, he pulled you a lot further than I think you would have liked. And at this position here, I think you could have actually got up to your feet. Yeah, and then you end up pulling guard. So you end up pulling guard, and you have good positioning here. The guy just got quite a bit ahead of you before you got a chance to close your legs up. And yeah, you have two options right now, which is play open guard or see if you can climb the hips. But again, he's quite a bit ahead of you. Now, I don't think I saw any white belts playing De La Riva, so that's really awesome and quite the feather in your hat that you would even go to this position. The foot's a little bit too high. It's on the inside of the crease. I'd like it a little bit further down on the knee. And you can see also he's grabbing that grip on your foot. So if you would have hit extension here and then sat up instead of hugging the collar, there's a good chance that you could have got to that position that we worked on. And if not that, then just been able to scramble and take the back from there. If you would have got to sitting De La Riva. You go to adjust the leg and push, but he's pushing too, and he pushes the legs in between. So now the position's gone. At this point now, you needed to try to launch him to the right, but it would have been difficult with the grips that you had up top. Um, and then he starts to pass. Right now, you could have maybe tried to transfer to like an underhook, but you know what? You do a really good job. Instead of just getting smashed onto your back and then, ultimately gassed out and submitted, you do a really good job here of bellying out and most importantly, letting go of the grips once you recognize that you lost the position, which is awesome. Excellent job of getting your hips away. Your positioning is really good. Now, one thing to note here is I can't really see your left hand. I know your right hand's grabbing on the inside of the leg. If you would have been able to get this hand out, I think it's trapped underneath you. You could have made a good grab on the leg to maybe slow him down. But your positioning is like perfect here in terms of like the line in between him and you. And then you do a really good job of your guard recovery here. Now, right here, you get up to all fours, and he jumps over to try to take your back. And you time this perfectly. Like your reaction time and how you end up recovering the half guard is perfectly timed. There's a lot of people in the gym, like even a lot of the blue belts, who cannot hit this timing and this reaction speed the way you did here. So just watch how you recover the leg. I'll rewind it so you can see it in full time. And that was perfect the way you did that. Like that's really high level. Yeah, excellent job extending and opening the leg, and you're forcing him with your body positioning to make him post and slow down. So this is actually really good, and you didn't even really notice probably that you did it. block the knee. That's excellent there. In this position now, you end up going to a deep half guard. Now, I know it's on your bad side, but I would have actually liked to see you maybe dig an underhook here once you secured the leg instead. But either way, it's still very good. Now in this position, as you start getting the deep half guard set up, which is good based on the hand positioning, you can see he's kind of starting to underhook your arm. So he's attacking the arm already with the elbow and the grip on the wrist. What you need to do in this position, instead of hiding your arm underneath the leg, which is what you ultimately do, it would be good too to grab his own belt. That would secure the arm so you wouldn't get submitted. You have a good position here. I would have liked to see you rock him a little bit back and forth. If you look, he's actually not on his toes. And when you play this position a lot, you can actually feel based on where the pressure on the knee is, if he's on his toes or not. So rocking him backwards, even though his legs are a little bit longer for where you are, because again, the leg is not that far down your leg, so it would have been difficult, but you could have set that up with a back take there. But let's see. So right now, because you don't have the hand underneath, I wouldn't actually try to bring out this gi just yet. Yeah. Again, right now you're fighting with that lapel. I think if you would have had your left arm controlling the hip, there's a good chance that he wouldn't have been able to pop up in the way that he does. As you can see here, he's going to pop up to defend the position a little bit once you hide your arm. Okay, good job there. You off balanced him and recovered, but of course, I feel like your legs are just way too open there. That would be a problem. You go to do your poke out. On the way of doing that poke out, he manages to pop up. Let's see that. He does a good job recovering. You're staying tight with your elbow, which is awesome. However, he does start to get under your elbow, so now you can't pull your elbow close to your hip, and it actually is going to make the position quite a bit weaker. Also, I mean, he's kind of got the foot just like it's like barely in there. He might even have his heel out of the control of your legs. So at this point, it might be a good idea to start to poke your head out and see if you can take the back after bumping his butt, because you've basically lost the position. Like you're just holding on to air on the foot. Um, it's going to be really hard to off balance him and really get anything going because you're going to have to open up a little bit too much to let that leg out. Again, taking the back here, or at least trying to, and scrambling would have been something we could have looked at. That's a problem. He got the inside control. He's doing a pretty good job here. And yeah, his foot's just like barely hanging in there. Now, to your credit, you actually do off balance him with the foot on the floor, so that was great. In my opinion, this is way better than if you would have tried to sweep from here, because as you're going to see in a second, if you would have just pulled that hip under, you wouldn't have been able to bring that knee to the floor. But because you off balanced him, he feels uncomfortable in this position, and he eventually gets his leg free and goes to a quarter mount. So at least we changed the position and kept the guard. At this point now, grip that you have in the lapel is not really doing anything to secure the position. I would have liked to see you let go of that lapel and hug onto the knee. Because you're grabbing onto the lapel and not his knee or his hip, he's able to get this leg out. Okay, and he also clears that grip anyways and ends up in the quarter mount. Now you still have a good position here and you do a good job of getting your right hand on the inside, although I think you're a little bit confused here. If you can see this, he has the quarter mount on the opposite side, right? So the way that you begin to turn in and defend, I think is a little bit mixed up. So as you can see, you're starting to pass the lapel, right? The reason why you're passing the lapel is you're trying to maybe start to work out to the half guard, but and come up on the underhook. But in this situation here, passing the lapel is not good because you don't have his knee trapped within your legs just yet. Because of this, he takes this opportunity to open up and free his leg from the quarter mount, and now he has you in the mount. So now, I think you're just going into a bit of a panic recovery mode. This arm is in danger, and actually, as you begin to put your hand between his legs here, you not only trap yourself, but you're starting to put yourself into a mounted triangle. You do a good job of letting go of the gi and bringing your hand across the hip. Unfortunately, that should have happened maybe before this hand went in here because now you pretty much can't use your arms to do much of anything. You get on your side, which is really good, but again, you recognize the problem and your arm is trapped. He's sitting up really high on you, so it's going to be hard to get your arm out. All the weight is on your arm. Right now, because your hand is trapped, you can't defend. And he's starting to go for this choke, which I've never actually seen before. I didn't even really think much about this position until after you told me about how you almost tapped to it. But one thing you do here as you're getting choked, you actually do something really, really smart to recover position here. So right now, he's postured quite heavy on you. He has good positioning with his foot. Um, and he's got you in this choke, which you're not going to be able to defend. However, you do the escape really well, um, which I don't even know if you realize how good you escaped, because I remember you saying something to the effect of like, "Man, I think I was gonna go out," and then he let go of it. He didn't actually let go of it. You escaped the position correctly. If you look here, his knees are pinched. If you would have just tried to push in and shrimp out the traditional way, um, you wouldn't have been able to get your hand back in. When you shrimp, you pull your butt back. As you pull your butt back, that opens up um, the space for you to actually free your arm. He has to post, and you get your arm back inside. So this movement that you do to escape the position actually is one of the best things you did in the fight. Here. See how you pull the hip away? The guy has to post. It opens up his legs and takes away his base. And you're actually able now to get your left hand back in place. So you do this. This is an extremely good move. Now you're starting to pop up. You're doing your traditional escape out of the back. The reason why this isn't working is because you're unable to put your weight onto his hips, as you'll see in a second. Because he was sitting so high on you, this escape isn't going to work. Um, Simply because, um, as you'll see here in a second. So you're trying to stay in this position here, which is kind of a like you're trying to get to be essentially like a half guard top position here. You have the grip inside the collar. Now, because he's high, he chooses to sit back. This doesn't work anymore because if you look at his head positioning on a traditional back attack, it should be quite a bit lower on your body. Because of this, you're unable to put the majority of your weight onto this leg, and also it's the reason why he's able to cross his feet. So right now, you're trying to push that leg down, but the grip is just a little bit too much on the outside. It needs to be down here, and he's just way too high. He crosses the legs. It's going to be very difficult, and he actually crosses them correctly as well. So you basically cannot open up the legs this way. You kind of get them open, but again, just the positioning is off. He's too high on your body. On this point now, again, he's just way too high for you to catch his feet. Um, and at this point now, you need to go to a conventional back escape, which you actually do with some coaching. The only problem is that you're still holding inside of his gi, and you don't let that grip go the whole fight, and it ultimately costs you the match. So again, yeah, you needed to let go. Now, right now, you're starting to put your weight on him, which is the correct thing to do. And then from here, you can start to push with your feet and try to wiggle your hips back through the knees, because right now your hips are sitting quite a bit lower on his hips. But again, couldn't really tell. I thought you let go at this point, but you kept the grip. Because of that grip, it's actually restricting you. You can't sit up high enough on him. You get back on top, but again, really good job here getting back on top. Um, Good concept of positioning, but your right hand being trapped inside the gi is going to prevent you from pushing and getting your hips out. He's also got wrist control here and pushing down, so that's also having a bit of an issue with you getting up high on him. So the grip prevented it, but his arm control is giving you a hard time as well. This point now, I didn't even see until this moment that he's going in front of your face. And now he secures onto your gi, so now you're pretty much screwed. He has the control. He can't get high on him, and your hands inside the gi, and it's trapped now because of just the positioning. Well, a side note, I remember you said that you almost went out here, and you try to pull your arm out so that you can tap. You can always just bang your foot on the floor too. Then finally, you get your arm out and tap. So yeah, really good match. A lot of really good things, and then some things to consider as you're playing some of these positions.